Okay, welcome back everyone. So we're going to get going on the next portion of our color wheel here. So what I have now is my little sheet of white paper. So in your paper bags that you had your materials in, there was probably a few of these pieces of paper in there. And you'll notice they probably have little perforated edges on it and stuff. We use these as our places where we mix our colors because we couldn't use them for anything else, and so we can dispose of those pretty easily. I will have to mix a little bit on top of my color wheel. I wouldn't recommend that you do that. I might even put another sheet of paper underneath me just so that I know that it's not soaking through onto my color wheel here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to do the 6 tertiary colors. Okay, tertiary colors is where you mix 2 colors and you put them together. So it's basically, this is your primary color. Red is your primary color. So red, yellow, and blue, those are your primaries. And then the secondary colors are orange, green, and purple. They're secondary colors because these colors can be made using the primaries. The last video I said if you wanted to try something different for a purple, you could mix your red and your blue together to create that purple. You could do the same for orange or green. You just mix those 2 together and put it there, those 2, and there they go. So the tertiary colors is when you're going to mix your primary with a secondary color. So we're going to mix those 2 together and we're going to put it right there. So this one will be our red-orange. So here's my little place where I'm going to mix. Again, I don't recommend mixing on top of your color wheel, but I don't have much of an option since you need to be able to see what we're doing. Just like the last time, you're not going to need a ton of paint, not big globs, just don't need to do that. So I'm just going to get a little bit of paint on my brush, okay, not a ton, and I'm going to set it on my little mixing paper. If you don't want to cross-contaminate, make sure you wipe off your brush before you dip it into the next color. Rinse it, okay, squeeze it out. Then I'm going to get a little bit of orange, right? I'm doing my red and my orange right here. So I'm going to put those 2 together. They're very similar, very, very similar. But you want to try to get equal amounts of paint. So you can see that. I don't have a ton there. And you're just going to mix those together. Something like that. Okay. So you load up your brush and you're going to put it into your spot here. Again, you do not need a ton. So this should be a really nice reddish orange color. This is a tertiary color. I'm going to wipe off the excess over here because I don't need that much. Trying to get a nice even coat of color. And there we go, like that. So now we rinsed. And then we squeeze this stuff out of the brush. Then the next color we're going to do is going to be our yellow-orange. So I'm just going to turn my little paper here and I'm going to mix again over here. So I'm going to get a little bit of yellow. Not a ton, just a little bit. Wipe off my brush again, get a little bit of orange. Again, not a ton. Trying to get equal amounts here. And you mix those together. If it looks one color more than the other, if it's just too much, just grab a little more paint that you need. That looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my brush. Makes the paint go a little bit further. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so there's my yellow-orange. When you're referring to your tertiary colors, you generally say the name of the primary color first and then the secondary color. So it's red-orange and yellow-orange. Okay. Okay, so the next one that we will do is our yellow-green. A little bit of paint. Again, remember, just not enough, not a whole lot. I had a bunch, so I'm going to put a little bit back into my container there. Wipe my brush off. Get a little bit of the green. And mix. Looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting that on here. Brush again here. Trying to get a bunch of that out of my brush. There we go. Okay, so then the next one we're going to move on to is, make sure I don't want to set that on top of anything that's wet. I don't think they are wet, but that one is. Those are getting pretty good. I did change out my water between the two videos here. Helps to have some clean water. All right, so then the next one we're going to do is going to be our blue-green. Again, this is our primary, this is our secondary, so we're going to do our blue-green. A little bit of blue. Okay, I'm going to set this. Where can I set it? So you can see me working here. Maybe I'll just have to hold it. There we go. So blue-green. Again, we're trying to have equal amounts. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to scoop off a bunch of that. I'll try to put it on here. Have to get a little bit more. All right, I'm going to mix over on the side. Sorry. Oh, I got way too far. If I hustle, I can get that off. Yep. Okay. Go back over that. I just needed to slow down a little bit. This will be fine because that's going to get painted over anyways. Okay. Rinse out that brush. So then the last two that we have, what do we got? Blue purple or blue violet, and then red violet. We are almost there. All right, again, I'm going to mix over on the side just because it's hard to mix inside of here unless I move some of this out. There we go. Go like that. And you can still see what I'm doing. So I got my blue violets. I got a little bit of blue there. Again, I don't need a ton of paint. Trying to make sure you have equal amounts. Grab a little bit of purple. All right, let's try it and see. So you want it to look different from that one and that one. Again, I gotta slow down a little bit. Still very blue. I'm gonna add a little bit of purple into it. And I can mix it right on there if I want. Too much paint on my brush. Oops, moved my camera, didn't I? Let's see if I keep going over it, it just kind of moves around some of that paint and creates a little light spot. So I don't want to do that, so I'm going to stop. All right, and the last one we have is red violet. Clean my brush. Okay, so get a little bit of that purple. And remember, it's just a little bit. Get a little bit of red. Oh, forgot to wipe off my brush, cross-contaminated. Pull it out. There we go. And then we mix. Still looks very reddish, which means there's probably more red in it than purple. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more purple. That looks better. All right. That looks pretty good. I think that's where we're probably going to stop for today. I might clean up this one edge. There we go. Now I'm happy. All right, so that is where we'll stop for today. So you have your primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and then you have your orange, green, and purple. And then you have your tertiaries. Okay, and then those are the colors that are hyphenated. Your red, orange, orange, yellow green, blue violet, and red violet. And that's it for today.